Good morning and welcome back to another Montenegro vlog in Kotor Bay. So this is our final day at the Hyatt Regency Kotor Bay Resort. We're going to miss it for sure because it's been stunning, but it's going to be a really good day today, which is the first full sunny day that we have had since it being here. So hopefully there's going to be no storms and no storms for the rest of the trip. So I will show you just what it looks like outside. Completely blue skies. We're going to be sat by the pool pretty much most of the day. We're probably going to head down to the beach at some point as well, and then we're going to grab breakfast in just a second. So going to hopefully go back to the Blue Restaurant where they've got all the tasty omelettes, tasty pastries and things like that. But if you do want to check out all of the other vlogs, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description below. Now let's get down for breakfast. So down at the pool area, had a really nice breakfast. The omelette was delicious as usual. Also had a bit of streaky bacon as well, so that was very tasty. Then had the donut with Nutella in the middle. I forgot what it's actually called in Montenegro, but that was unbelievable. Then also had a couple of other pastries, and then we headed down to the pool. It is absolutely boiling, so we keep having to take dips into the pool as well. Been reading a bit of Harry Potter, and I think most of the day is literally going to be just jumping in and out of the pool and sunbathing. Just got back to the room. It's been so sunny and hot all day. It's been absolutely boiling, and all I've been doing is just rotating on the sunbed and then jumping in the pool when I get too sweaty. Managed to read a lot of the Harry Potter book as well, which is good. So we're quite far in with that. We then headed up to the top bar for lunch. That was quite nice. Just all I had was some chips, and then Beth's had a tofu salad, which he said was very nice as well. Quite expensive though. Beth's was €14. Mine was €6 for a thing of chips, and then both the Fanta and the lemonade were $4.50 each. So it is quite expensive at the hotel if you want to get food and drink, which is really annoying. I find it's the same at every hotel that you go to. It is way more expensive than the local area. I wish they just put it down to a normal price. So then when you're in the hotel, you can just feel like you can buy things without thinking you're being ripped off. The pool area is stunning though. It's great to have that pool bar as well where you can swim up and order some drinks if you'd like to. We're now going to head down to the beach area because we've not been there yet. So hopefully we can have a quick swim in the sea and then chill out on some sun lounges again. Maybe get some more drone footage of that. So let's get down there. So it's now 7:41, we've come up from the beach and we weren't actually too impressed with the beach in the end. It was sort of these tiny, small white pebbles. It wasn't like the really nice beach that you get, because when you walk across the pebbles, it was really sharp on foot as well. So wasn't too impressed. It didn't look like there was too much going on in the water either. So I'd probably say this is more of a pool holiday than a beach holiday, although it is quite nice to jump in the sea every so often, and it is clear water as well, so it looks nice and clean. They also had some of the sunbeds not actually on the beach. It was slightly higher up on the walkway, and then there was a ladder into the sea, so that it meant you didn't have to walk across all of the stones to get into the sea. That was a good idea as well, so it stops you from hurting your feet. I then got a little bit of drone footage and then headed up back to the room. We're now changed and ready to go out on our final night. We're going to head down to the Lighthouse, which is the main fancy restaurant basically at the hotel, and it overlooks the mountain and the sea. So I've gone for the safari look. We've got the safari shirt, black shorts, and then I will be putting on the Nike grey trainers again. Beth's gone for a nice little dress too, so she's looking good. By the looks of it, the sun is about to set. You don't really get very good views of the sunset from the hotel because it's going behind the mountains of the bay, so don't really get very nice views. Maybe a little bit of orange clouds if there are any clouds in the sky, but we're going to head down now for tea to the Lighthouse, and hopefully it should be a good evening. So we have arrived at the Lighthouse Restaurant, but not a good start because we actually changed our booking from 7 till 8, and then unfortunately they hadn't actually wrote it down that we'd changed the booking time. So they thought we'd booked at 7, so said that we didn't have a table. We then got told that we were lucky to have a table, which is a little bit ridiculous. We did want to sit as well on the veranda over there, but unfortunately they didn't let us, so that was very frustrating too. I've actually ordered a Turborough, I forgot what it's called now, a Tuborg beer. Beth's gone for another Somersby cider. I'll get the price at the end for everything. We've been given some bread, which is very nice too. So let's dig in. We had a lovely final evening at the Lighthouse Restaurant. Unfortunately, we had the poor start there with the service. It just seems to be that in Montenegro, the service isn't quite like it is in the UK. It's probably a cultural difference, to be honest. But it was just the fact that we'd actually booked to go in at 7 o'clock, and then we changed it to 8 o'clock last night. And then they basically told us that we didn't have a booking, and that basically we were lucky to get a table, which I thought was a little bit poor from them. But apart from that, the food was nice. We got some bread to begin with the oils and balsamic vinegar. There was also a pepper hummus, but I prefer the oils and balsamic vinegar, so didn't really have much of that hummus. We then had a mushroom risotto. Beth had a vegetable risotto, which was vegan, and they were pretty tasty. I have to say mine was very nice. Beth was just a little bit strange with like string beans and things like that in the risotto, which you wouldn't really ever see in a risotto usually. And then for dessert, Beth had the vegan cake and I had the cheesecake, which came with 3 different flavours. You had 3 sauces, which were strawberry, caramel and white chocolate. Mine was absolutely delicious. Definitely recommend that if you do come here. And Beth's, she wasn't that impressed with, and I tried it as well and I wasn't too impressed either. So maybe, I don't think Montenegro is that great for food for vegans, is what we found out so far. In terms of the prices for everything, it was quite expensive. So we had the water, which was €6. We then had the Tuborg, so I had a few bottles of Tuborg. Each one of those were €5. Beth had the Somersby pear again. That was €7 per bottle, so a lot more expensive than everywhere else down on the coast of Kotor Bay. The risotto with vegetables was €16, and the risotto with mushrooms and brie, which is what I had, that was €18. So those two aren't too bad. And then both of the desserts were €12, which again is pretty pricey, especially for the size of the dessert. As you saw on the video, it looked quite small, it wasn't that big, but it was very tasty. So overall, 2 mains, 2 desserts and 3 drinks each came to €100, and then it had an extra €10 service charge, which Beth was not happy to pay. Although it was very expensive, we did have a great night, and it was lovely to see someone actually get proposed to as well on a couple of tables behind us. There was also a live singer that was on tonight too. She was okay, but not quite as good as a live saxophonist who also DJ'd as well yesterday at the Olay Bar, but had a good night overall. I'm going to end the vlog here, so if you have enjoyed, do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. You can go and check out all of the previous vlogs, which I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description below. The total that we've spent today is just appearing up here on the left hand side. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.